And welcome to Legal Matters, an informational and news call-in show devoted to legal topics of interest to State Line viewers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and with me is attorney Michael Crosby with the Crosby Law Firm. Attorneys are standing by right now to take your call at the number on your screen at 815-397-2006. They'll provide you with free information on your issue. The call is confidential, so pick up the phone now and call the Crosby Law Firm throughout the next hour. Again, the number 815-397-2006. Now, our opening statement for this episode of Legal Matters is entitled The Anatomy of a Divorce and Prenuptial Agreements. And in the second segment, we'll continue our popular You Want to Know question and answer session devoted to questions posed by you, the viewer, through telephone calls and social media. Again, that number is 815-397-2006. Lawyers are standing by right now to take your confidential call. Before we get started, however, please note that the Crosby Law Firm represents thousands of individuals just like you. Just as our local hospitals handle a multitude of healthcare issues, the Crosby Law Firm can help you with a multitude of legal care matters as well. So pick up the phone and call 815-397-2006. The Crosby Law Firm has a Center for Divorce and Family Law, an injury department which includes but is not limited to auto and motorcycle accidents, as well as slip and fall, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability matters. There's also a Bankruptcy Institute, an office for DUI, traffic and criminal defense, an advanced care plan and probate center, and a division for real estate, business matters, and more. So again, feel free to call and discuss any of these practice areas with the attorneys standing by. At number 815-397-2006. Lawyers are standing by now to take your call. It is free and it is confidential. And Michael, welcome to the show.
Sure, glad to be here.
It is February.
Absolutely.
The year just keeps moving along.
It does.
And we're here that February is a time for Valentine's Day and love and President's Day, which kind of slides in there in kind of a weird little thing, talking about divorce and prenuptial agreements. And but let's talk about that and some issues that a lot of our viewers may want to know when confronting a divorce or confronting something at the beginning of a marriage, a prenuptial agreement, and ultimately, unfortunately, maybe a divorce.
Sure. Well, it is Valentine's Day, or Valentine's month. It is the month that we celebrate presidents as well. Lincoln and Washington, I think, were born in this month. Our newly elected president, who we all hope is off to a great start, has been married 3 times before, or 2 times before, and is in his third marriage,
one, yeah.
And hopefully third time's a charm. So this is probably a very good topic for the month of Valentine's Day. A lot of folks head off to Las Vegas and get married and come back, and hopefully things will work out, but on occasion they don't. So probably a good topic for the month of February.
Well, it's sometimes difficult to see folks who are so madly in love with each other, the last thing they want to talk about is a prenuptial agreement, because it seems to be so cut and dried and so non-emotional. But that's the best time to talk about it, at the beginning of a very serious relationship, I suppose.
Sure. Most folks, I think, when they're thinking of prenuptial agreements, think of somebody, one of the 2 spouses is really rich and the other one may not be. And that happens on occasion. But most of the work that we do in our office regarding prenuptial agreements centers around second marriages. So both the husband and the wife-to-be may have been married previously, had children from previous relationships, and want to make sure that those children are taken care of in the event of a divorce in the second marriage. So I'd encourage our viewers to give us a call if you think you may need a prenuptial agreement. We have a matrimonial family law department that does a lot of this work, and be happy to sit with you. Again, that initial consultation is free of charge, Alan. And of course, on most of this work, as we've talked about in previous shows, we do this work on a flat fee as opposed to an hourly charge. So prenuptial agreements can frequently help, particularly on second marriages.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that a little bit in terms of divorce. What are some of the issues, the legal issues especially, that concern a divorce?
Sure. Unfortunately, in our country, upwards of 50% of all the marriages end in divorce. So this is a fairly regular occurrence. The issues in a divorce depends on the particular family circumstances, but typically there's children issues if we're talking about minor children issues. So you've got child support, You've got visitation issues, allocation of parental time. You may have property issues where you're inventorying a couple's assets and the debts, trying to sort out how to properly divide up those assets and divorce and debts upon a divorce. You've also got alimony or maintenance issues to consider as well. So there's a lot of issues. One of the first and most important ones is how do you properly start the divorce and how do you manage the divorce during its process to minimize confrontation, to minimize excess drama, to flatline things. We try to do this as many times as we can in a diplomatic way. We don't lead with our chin here. We don't try to pursue scorched earth. It's about collaborating, trying to minimize confrontation, problem resolve, early dispute resolution.
Okay, great ideas. And a reminder, the number to call, 815-397-2006. Stay tuned for our rapid fire You Want to Know question and answer segment coming up after we take a break. And welcome back, everyone. It's time for our rapid fire question and answer segment called You Want to Know. In an effort to protect viewer confidentiality, please understand we only use first names. We may alter the location and nature of the question. And I'd like to remind you that lawyers are standing by to take your call no matter the topic. So pick up the phone. That number is 815-397-2006. So Michael, here's our first question. It comes from Megan in Boone County. She asks, is it true that in an auto accident case that a lawyer only gets paid if he or she recovers money for his client? She says, I don't quite understand how this works.
Sure. Good question from Megan. In a auto accident case, a slip and fall case, a truck accident, motorcycle accident case, lawyers generally work on what's called a contingency fee. Their fee is contingent, conditioned upon winning the case for the client. So we typically do not receive a fee unless we recover money for our client. We devote a lot of our practice to personal injury work, auto accidents, slip and fall cases, motorcycle accidents. This is the time of the year, Lord knows, accidents can happen frequently in February, winter months, so forth. So I'd encourage Megan to give us a call. We only get paid if we're successful and recover for you.
Okay. Second question comes from Carol in Freeport. My husband and I were recently married. We each have children from a previous marriage. We want to know, we do know it's time to get our wills updated, but we're not quite certain how to proceed. Could you fill us in on what we should do next?
This question kind of takes off from our first segment where we talked about prenuptial agreements in a second marriage. In this particular case, they're talking about second marriage, perhaps children each from previous marriages, and they want to have their wills redone. They want us to take a look, I think, at other documents, healthcare power of attorney, property power of attorney, perhaps a transfer and death instrument, so forth. So I would encourage these folks to come in and visit with us. Again, the consultation is free of charge. Each case is different. The first place to start is to confer with a lawyer. This is extremely important. Back in our Christmas episode earlier this year, or last year, we talked about the gift of an advanced care plan. In a second marriage, an advanced care plan is an important instrument, something that everyone should have. So please give us a call. We'll be happy to talk with you about it. No charge for the initial consultation.
Sure, and I would think people need to make an inventory of what important papers they do have.
Sure, and where to keep them.
And where to keep them.
And to let the lawyer know where they are and let their executor know where they are. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Question 3 comes from Bob in Sycamore. When my son got home from work the other day, he found a police officer's card in the door with a note to contact the officer. My son called me instead. He told me that he had recently engaged in some questionable activity. He's afraid if he contacts the police, he'll get arrested. What should he do?
He should contact a lawyer that does criminal defense work immediately. Our law firm is a general practice firm. We have a department devoted to criminal defense. He does not want to contact the police officer without first contacting us. What's important here, he's not been arrested yet, so we can help him navigate through the investigation stage and perhaps avoid an arrest, which would minimize expenses, minimize the emotional trauma, etc. If there's going to be an arrest made, typically we can negotiate for voluntary surrender to the authorities. We can find out what the bail is in advance. So did a good thing in calling his dad. He needs to jump on this and call our office. Again, that initial consultation is free of charge. That's part of the law firm initiative and our way of giving back to the community.
Yeah, it's got to be a frightening time.
Absolutely.
And I think that would help secure some.
Alan, contact the lawyer right away.
Okay. Next question comes from Jean in Rockford. My son and daughter-in-law are thinking about buying a house. They've gotten online. They found a couple of houses that interest them, but they're not quite certain what to do next. Does the Crosby Law Firm represent homeowners or home buyers?
A significant portion of our practice is devoted to real estate matters. I can't think of a more significant investment for the average American than buying a home. The undertaking of the mortgage, the obligation, the investment of the house. No home buyer or home seller should ever go through this process without the benefit of legal counsel. A good real estate broker typically will help as well. So this is a first-time home buyer. They should be aware that the government at the federal level and the state level, to encourage first-time home buyers, actually have some programs out there that are gifts. We recently represented a young couple in their first home purchase, and we were able to secure for them, with the help of the mortgage broker, $13,500, which went to a down payment. That was gifts from the federal government and the state government that do not have to be paid back so long as you live in the house, in this particular case with this client of ours, for 5 years.
Wow.
So major league money, major league investment. Please pick up the phone and give us a call. A lot of our practice is devoted to real estate matters, and again, that first consultation is free of charge.
Definitely worth the price of a phone call.
Sure.
Right off the bat. All right, Michael, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Don't forget, lawyers are standing by for another half hour after the show airs. The number to call, 815-397-2006. That's all the time we have with the Crosby Law Firm. Legal Matters continues with Mark Brennison from the American Law Firm after we take a break. And welcome back to Legal Matters. I'm your host, Alan Jones. With me is Mark Brennison, the managing attorney for the American Law Firm. This is a half-hour informational news call-in show devoted to a variety of legal topics. We have attorneys standing by now to take your call at the number on your screen, 815-394-1776. They'll provide you with free information on your issue. The call is confidential, so pick up the phone now and call the American Law Firm throughout the next hour. Again, the number, 815-394-1776. Now, our opening statement in our first segment will be discussing some tips on how to handle your own personal injury car accident settlement. Some things to watch out for. But first, let me remind you of the multiple practice areas of the American Law Firm. The American Law Firm can assist you in a variety of legal matters, like divorce and family law, bankruptcy, personal injury claims, criminal traffic and DUI issues, wills, trust and probate matters, real estate and business transactions, and more. So again, feel free to call and discuss any of these practice areas with the attorney standing by. That number on your screen, 815-394-1776. Lawyers are standing by now to take your call, and again, that call is confidential. So Mark, welcome to the program. Always a pleasure to see you.
Yes.
And we've been talking a lot about how to handle your own personal injury car accident settlement. In fact, Mark wrote the book on it. 32 quick tips for handling your own Illinois personal injury car accident settlement. We've been talking a lot of ways.
But let me say that this is available. You can call and request it. Just the sheet, you can call and request it if you want to.
Perfect. And it's absolutely free.
Absolutely free.
So why did you write this? What was the purpose in getting this information out there?
Well, again, education is power, or knowledge is power. If you know as much as the other guy, you can negotiate a fairly decent settlement. But as you can see from the last series of programs, there's a lot involved to these. And we've just scratched the surface, by the way. These 32 tips, multiply it by about 100. I mean, there's a lot more involved to it in a personal injury settlement. But at least they can have an idea of what's going on, so when the adjuster tries to blow things by them that aren't true, at least they can go, now hold it a minute, that's not what I understand, and they can get it from a source that's authoritative.
How many times, I wonder, if people come in saying they want to do this, and they come for your tips, And then after reading over this, they go, you know, I don't think this is a good idea. Why don't you handle this instead?
Many times. Again, if the case is above the threshold where an attorney is not going to take money out of the client's pocket.
Yeah.
Many times, but I will say this, many times they'll take that home and read it and they'll try it on their own and they go, oh,
Yeah.
and we'll see them back. That's the typical scenario.
And take a look at it there.
Right.
Well, let's get into some questions here. It says research and figure out the reasonable settlement value of your case in the jurisdiction where the accident happened. That may be something that people really don't know. What is my case actually worth?
That's an excellent question because of this. Every county, every circuit court in the state of Illinois, it's usually a county circuit court, like Winnebago County Circuit Court, Boone County Circuit Court, Stevenson County Circuit Court, DeKalb County Circuit Court. I can name them all, McHenry County Circuit Court. Each one, the people that live in those counties are a little different, and they comprise the jury pool. Insurance companies and attorneys, they're always looking at what are the jury verdicts for specific types of injuries. So if it was a back injury worth this amount of money, what are the jury verdicts coming back? If it's a death case worth this amount of money, what are the jury verdicts coming back at? You're always looking at the jury verdicts in that county. For instance, Cook County and Madison County down in southern Illinois are probably one of the 5 best plaintiffs venues in the country. They give great verdicts. Therefore, the settlement value of a claim is much higher than it probably would be in Winnebago County. So you need to have access to the information. What are jury verdicts being returned for specific types of injuries? Because that's how you tell what the settlement value of the claim is. And unless you have access to those resources, you're not going to know. And if you're somebody handling the case on your own and you don't know what the true value of your case is, that insurance adjuster, he may offer you 10 cents on the dollar of the true value, and you think it's a great settlement, and it wasn't, not even close. So it's important to seek an attorney. If you're going to try to do the case on your own, at least seek the advice of an attorney and try to have them do an evaluation for you.
So where do they begin to research this? Is this information that's readily available on the internet? Do they have to go like to the county clerk and look at that, or where do they go?
It's there, but I subscribe to services that do this for me and collect the data. So I can just push some buttons and find out. I have the same database that the insurance companies have, so they're not going to pull wool over my eyes. We're going to be able to value the case pretty close to what it should be. And you can settle a case for a lot less than what the jury verdict would be, and still put the same amount of money in your pocket because you eliminate the litigation expenses. You don't have to pay a doctor to come in and testify for you, for example.
All right. We're going to take a break in just a moment. Don't forget, lawyers are standing by for another half hour after the show airs. Number to call, 815-394-1776. We'll be right back with more with Mark Burnison and the American Law Firm after we take a break. And welcome back. I'm your host, Alan Jones. With me is attorney Mark Burnison with the American Law Firm. And you're watching Legal Matters, an informational and news call-in show devoted to a variety of legal topics. Attorneys are standing by now to take your call at the number on your screen, 815-394-1776. They'll be able to provide you with free information on your issue. The call is confidential. Pick up the phone now. Call the American Law Firm throughout the next hour. I get the number 815-394-1776. So again, talking about personal injury car accident settlement, do-it-yourselfers. And it can be done, and apparently very successfully.
If it's below a certain threshold, yes.
Yep.
Yes, and I would encourage people, if it's below that threshold, and I'll certainly tell you what it is if you come in and visit with me, you can be very successful and get the job done yourself.
Okay. Make an appropriate demand on the insurance company, one that's not so wacky they just ignore you completely. So now we have to go for the definition of what's wacky.
What's wacky?
What would be a wacky determination?
Well, if you have, let's say, no property damage to your car, so there's not a lot of damage, so that means the clunk wasn't too hard, and you have $1,500 in medical bills. Took 2 weeks, no lost wages, and you're asking for $200,000, you've way overvalued your case.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Some people, you know, they overreach. They think the value of their case is way more, but they have to understand there's a market value for that case. And as we talked before in the last segment, hey, look, we have access to the jury verdicts, so we know what the jury verdict value is and therefore what the settlement value is. And so you have to be reasonable and understand there's a market value for your injury, and you have to put the number on there that is within that range. Now, there are variables that can change that, and you have to be aware and attuned to that so that you can factor that in. Sometimes for a similar injury, it's going to be maybe a couple times more than what you would think it would be, because there are factors in there that aren't present in the other cases, and then it may be lower because there are factors that are present. You just have to know how to apply the factors, the criteria of the case to get the right settlement value.
Yeah. Well, no case is identical.
No.
You can't go in and say it's the same thing, we get the same amount of money. So you do have to tweak those fine moments, those
That's
one
correct.
points, to find out exactly if it's going to get you more money or if it's wacky or not.
And wacky, you know, like I said, if you have $1,500 in medical bills and basically you miss no time from work, you don't have a $200,000 claim. You have to be realistic.
Yeah, and that's something people have to understand, I think, right there. If the insurance company responds to your demand and you like what they're offering, which I think determines you have to have a little bit of education and knowledge
Yes.
as to what it is they're offering. Read the general release of liability to make sure you're not waiving important rights.
Oh, absolutely. If you settle up with the insurance company and they're going to give you, let's say it's $10,000, they're going to want to release for that money, releasing their insured, the person, the bad guy that hit you, and them from future payouts. That's it. And so I've had cases where people have handled it on their own, settled up just like that, have signed the release, and then about 3-4 weeks after they sign the release, they start to have physical problems, pain radiating down their arm, and they go back and they find out they have a herniated disc. Well, they signed the release. The claim that was $10,000 is probably worth $150,000, and so what happens? They don't get. They're stuck with the $10,000 and have a $150,000 claim. Happens quite a bit. So that's why knowledge is power. You need to know. Come and talk to an attorney. Come and talk to me. If you're going to handle it on your own, I'll be glad to talk with you and try to put a value and make sure that you aren't missing any trap doors. It's just, I see horror stories like that on a monthly basis, and I just don't want that to happen to people.
Yeah, but if you've done the education, you've done the research in the background, and you fervently believe it's a legitimate, valuable claim.
If you've talked to a lawyer.
Okay, so that's the key.
Yes.
You must talk to a lawyer, and just to make sure all of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Let me give you an example. Every time that we are ready to settle a case, and you can bring all my clients in, and they'll tell you this, when they've been released by the doctor, I don't want to write the demand letter to the insurance company. I tell my clients, I want you to go out and hit life as hard as you did before you were in the accident. And I will say it's a high percentage. I would say probably 60% of the time they go out there and they do that for 2 weeks, things pop up. They're not ready to settle. They're not healed. And so they need a little more therapy or a little more time to heal. And so the insurance companies love it when you sign that dotted line like a week after the accident, and they'll say, look, we handle these all the time, even though you're not healed. It's okay to settle it now because we know where it's going to be in 4 weeks and you're fine. Take the money.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that.
Great idea. Okay, and then if you don't like what they're offering, talk to an attorney.
Talk to an attorney. That's why come in and see us. If you're going to handle it on your own, that's fine.
Yeah.
But come in and see us so you know what the correct amount to ask for is,
Yeah.
or you're in the ballpark.
Yeah, and it's free advice, so
Free
might as well
advice,
go for it.
absolutely.
All right, Mark, thank you very much.
Welcome.
It's been quite informative. Appreciate it very much. Once again, lawyers for the American law firm standing by now to take your call. No matter the topic, the advice is free. 815-394-1776. They'll be taking calls for about a half hour after the airing of the show. Back with a closing statement when Legal Matters returns.
Legal Matters has been brought to you by the Crosby Law Firm and American Law Firm.
Let me close by encouraging you to pick up the phone and call the attorneys standing by. And because of the high volume of calls, attorneys from the American Law Firm and the Crosby Law Firm will be taking calls for about another half hour after the show ends. So if you do get a busy signal or you go to voicemail, keep trying or just leave a message. Someone from either law firm will return your call the following business day. And for those viewers who may not need the assistance of an attorney just yet, visit the Crosby Law Firm or American Law Firm websites with any suggestions you may have regarding subjects of interest to you, and to view all the past episodes of Legal Matters. You can also find them both on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching Legal Matters. We hope you found it informative.